Good afternoon, and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners BoCC meeting for Tuesday, February 11, 2020. By way of introduction, I'm Chair John Hutchings. To my left is Commissioner Gary Edwards. To my right is Vice Chair Ty Menser. To his right is La Bonita Bomar, the clerk of the board and owner of the timer. We'll get to that. To her right on the bench is the county manager, Ramiro Chavez, and to his right is the assistant county manager, Robin Campbell, and to her right is Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Elizabeth Petridge. And so with that, we're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Vice Chair Commissioner Messer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And with that, looking for an approval for today's agenda.
Where's the item?
I would make a motion to amend today's agenda, and my motion is to remove consent item 3D from the proposed agenda. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to remove item 3D from the consent agenda. Any discussion on that item?
No, sir.
Or the amendment, rather? Nope?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that's done. Now, approval for the agenda. That was removal. That was
Sure.
amending.
Then I will make a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion?
No, sir.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We have that. And how about the board meeting minutes from February 4?
I move to approve a board meeting minutes from February 4th, 2020. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the board meeting minutes from February 4th, 2020. Any corrections on the minutes?
No, sir. No.
Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you. Now we come to presentations, and the first one is Public Works, and we have Scott Lindblom going to come up and introduce Public Work employees. I lied.
Not Scott Lindblom.
Nope. Tim.
Tim Wilson. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tim Wilson, Water Resources Manager, Public Works. I have the pleasure today to introduce a new member of the Water Resources team. Skylar Specht joined the Stormwater Operations and Maintenance team on January 16th. He holds a bachelor's degree in environmental science from Western Washington University and is currently completing his last 2 quarters of a master's degree in environmental studies from the Evergreen State College. Skylar shared with me that his interest in water pollution and stormwater came early in elementary school as part of a salmon class, and continued and really peaked as he was a member of the Washington Conservation Corps, assisting with restoration work for the city of Bellingham. Prior to working for Thurston County, Skylar was a member of the City of Olympia Stormwater Inspection Team, where he was involved with both residential and commercial inspections. As part of the Stormwater Operations and Maintenance Team, that group is tasked with annual inspection of all, not only public but private stormwater systems in unincorporated Thurston County. And as part of that, Skylar will need to hit the ground running, and he already has. He will be tasked with inspecting and providing technical assistance to over 270 commercial sites within unincorporated Thurston County. On the private side, when Skylar is relaxing, he's an avid mountain biker and camper. And with that, I'm very excited to welcome Skylar to the Public Works Water Resources team, and would invite him to say a word or two.
Thank you.
Hey, it's great to be here. Really excited to work for the county, and yeah, it's been a pleasure. Been here all my life, so excited to work for you guys. So thank you.
Oh, don't walk away. No, don't walk away.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Wow. First thing you do. Any comments or questions?
Nope. Sounds like you've got something figured out on your whole salmon project now, though. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Anything?
No, just welcome. Thank you for.
Thank you.
Welcome to the family and go Gooey Ducks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yep.
Tim, where's
Appreciate
the
it.
other employees? Oh, here we go.
No, the real Scott Lindblom.
The real one, yes.
Real Scott Lindblom, please stand up. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Like
afternoon.
Tim, I'm thrilled to be able to introduce some of our newest Public Works employees. And during our recruitment process, we always tell people that, finding the right person for the job is the most important thing we'll ever do at the county. And as we bring on new folks, these folks exemplify that. We've been very fortunate and found some wonderful people. So I'm going to introduce 5 people, 4 of which are here. One of them is ill today, but I will still speak highly of her as well. So first is Jesse King. Jesse joined our team in November. He's in the design group within the Office of County Engineer. Jesse had about 15 years' experience with a private land development company, engineering company down in the Oregon area. And he likes to spend his weekends whitewater rafting on such rivers as the Green River, Skokomish, and many others in the Northwest. He's going to be helping our design teams lead design of capital projects that could be road projects, the fish passage projects, water, sewer utility projects. So we're very excited to have Jesse on board. Then next, chronologically, in order of hiring, is Brandy Schroeder. Brandy is an engineering technician in our traffic operations group. She replaced a longtime employee that retired in December. Interesting thing about Brandy is she worked as a commercial crab fisher person up in Alaska, out of Kodiak and Dutch Harbor. She did that for about 3 years. Also served as a volunteer firefighter, helped at homeless shelters for women and children, and delivered Thanksgiving meals to those in need. She's going to help make sure our 17,000 plus traffic signs stay in operation and are maintained. She'll be doing speed limit studies and helping traffic operations group in general. So just like Jesse, I welcome Brandy to the traffic team. And Kevin Forbes Kashani right there joined our team in December. He's lived in Thurston County his whole life, and we're able to grab him as he graduated from St. Martin's University in December. His favorite hobby is to ride motorcycles, and he makes time to do that every summer at the track. He too will be working on our capital projects within the design team, and we're looking forward to having him help us on road projects, fish passage, water, sewer, utilities, stormwater, parks, trails, and solid waste. And now our absent member, Amber Littlejohn, is unfortunately not feeling good today. Amber is an administrative assistant in the Office of County Engineer. She grew up in the Yelm area and was a graduate of South Puget Sound Community College, but came to us directly from the Department of Ecology Spills Program. She will continue to, like her predecessor, provide a very high level of administrative support for our team. And finally, Todd Mason joined us about 3 weeks ago. Todd is our new Development Review Manager, who I think Commissioner Hutchings had the chance to meet recently.
Yep.
Interesting thing about Todd is he ran his own engineering company down in the Lewis County area for about just over 20 years. And so he's switching sides of the table, or, really we have a big round table, but he's changing seats at the land development table. So now he's going to help ensure that any public infrastructure that gets built meets our strict standards we have, and it's going to be there to last for generations and generations. In his spare time, Todd shared with me that he's an auctioneer, a triathlete, and believe it or not, can be frequently swimming in Puget Sound even this time of year. Wow. I think he told me without a wetsuit too, so we'll see how that goes for Todd.
Good grief.
So he's going to help really our development review staff right up here in the county courthouse. And with that, if you have time to ask questions or offer any feedback, or if you'd like any words from them,
Of course.
I will hand the mic to them.
Well, I might just make a comment to Todd, coming from the private industry and his own business. You certainly recognize that time is money.
Oh, absolutely.
And looking forward to you bringing that philosophy with you to the county.
Well, I
Thank you very
appreciate that,
much.
and I've been well received. Everyone's just great in our department. In 3 weeks, I'm learning a lot about what's happening on the other side of the round table, if you will, and just real excited. Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
What an opportunity, because you are from the other side of the business, and now you're with the government side.
Yeah,
What a
we all work
perspective.
together. So,
Questions, comments?
No, just welcome aboard, everybody. Great to meet you.
I do. Well, it's twice in a row now. Number one, I don't know if it's on the application to be hired, but everybody seems to be involved in extreme sports and reckless behavior. From mountain biking, water sports, deadliest catch, crab fisher person, firefighter, and even motorcycles? Yes. That's all right. I can rock with that. But then Amber, I mean, she's not here because she's ill, but she's from Yelm. Is that dangerous enough, I would imagine? And Todd, Puget Sound swimmer with no protective gear, and it's doggone cold out there. And we...
It's mind over matter. I'm hoping to do the English Channel in 2 years.
Oh, you are crazy, man, I tell you. But I tell you what, you're crazy good, because yesterday I worked with Todd, as you mentioned, Scott. We had a constituent in my office, and Todd just navigated right through that, and this gentleman walked away. We have work to do, or you have work to do, but he walked away very, very happy and content. Not solved yet, but I'm sure it's going to get there. So thank you, Todd. Great crew, great hiring practice. Thank you, welcome.
Thank you, Scott.
That takes us to item number 1 on the agenda, the opportunity for the public to address the board. And
we have another introduction.
I'm sorry?
We have another introduction.
What did I miss? Oh, I did, because I was writing notes all over that. Kurt, I'm sorry. Emergency Management. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Kurt Harden, Director of Emergency Services, and I have the privilege of introducing Sherry Nevin. She's our most recent person to come into the Emergency Management Division. I told her we don't normally start off people in the first 45 days with a disaster, but we made an exception for her. Sherry comes from a long line of people, family, who have served in public service. One of her grandfathers was a fire chief and a county commissioner. And then another grandfather was an state assemblyman. Her father is a fire chief and been in the fire service for a long time. Her brother's a fire chief. Her mother worked in the postal service, so she comes from a long line of public service. She is coming to us from Nevada, Story County, Nevada, where she has a lot of experience, over 20 years experience working in the fire service, working in emergency management, and her most recent job was community relations coordinator. She is a graduate from the University of Nevada, Reno, which is Wolfpacks for those who are tracking. And in her spare time, she enjoys hiking, spending time with family, her dog Bentley the Beagle, and we are very pleased to have her with us. She's hit the ground running. She's very well qualified. She's a great and valued member of the team. So with that, I'll turn it over to Sherry to say a few words.
Good afternoon, Commission. Thank
Oh,
you
step
for the
right up to the microphone, please, Sherry. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm really anxious to hit the ground running here with Thurston County. We have, we're dealing with some flooding going on this week, so I'm learning as I go, and everyone has been super welcoming and helpful as I came on board. So I've been here just a little bit over a month, so I'm looking forward to a nice long career with the county.
Good. Commissioner?
Thank you. Welcome aboard. Looking forward to you working with those citizens down in the Nisqually area that have just been through this unnecessary mess, I might mention.
Yeah, I've been coordinating, our office has been coordinating with the Washington Conservation Corps. We have 4 teams out there today delivering bottled water and doing assessments, so real good work going on the ground.
Beautiful. Commissioner?
Have you ever had a flooding situation that you had to deal with before?
Yes, the last one we dealt with was in 2017. I come from high desert, so Virginia City where I was about 6,200 feet. So we'd get a lot of snow, and we had some low-lying areas in the county with a river along it, so we'd get these atmospheric rivers like you guys get here, heats up, melts the snow, runs downhill, we have flooding. So
Great.
yeah,
Well,
we've dealt with some of that.
We were going to drop you from the agenda because you were working the flood emergency. And then I had written notes, but then I realized you were here, so that's why I discounted you at first.
That's all right.
Number 2, with all the firefighters and fire chiefs, no law enforcement
Nope,
in the background?
no cops. Yeah. just
Wow,
firemen.
okay.
Yeah.
And I know the answer to this, Sherry, so you remind everybody else. Is it Nevada or Nevada?
It's Nevada.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Welcome to the family.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
thank you, Kurt.
Thank you, Kurt. Oh, now look, it's the opportunity for the public to address the board. again. And I'll go through the general guidelines, please. And number one, if you haven't done so, please silence your cell phones. When you get called up, introduce yourself at the podium, including the address where you reside in the county. Address the board and not the staff and or the audience. Board does not respond to public comment. This is your time to address the board. The county manager, on a needed basis, will follow up with specific items today or next week. Speakers are limited to a total of 3 minutes to address the board. And La Bonita Bomar, our clerk of the board, has the timer, and it'll time down to 0, and you'll hear a chime. That means your time is up. Meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. The board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for a good cause. No comments, please, that are lewd, offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. We ask you please be respectful. No outbursts of any kind, and no comments that are commercial in nature, such as a promotion for a for-profit business. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records subject to public release pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 42.56 of the RCW. And remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before this board on appeal are not appropriate either. So with that, I will call up in order the people who have signed up. I'll call up the first one and the next batter up so we know who's ready to go. And then following that, they'll still give the opportunity for the public to address if you hadn't signed up. So number one is going to be John Pettit, followed by Howard Gastetter.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name's John Pettit. I live in East Olympia. I've come before you on several different issues and several different elements of recent time. Today is actually having to do with a department that you have located on the same floor as yours, the seabed. One of the things that has been of agenda with one of my clients has to do with the processing time of getting things resolved. Now, I have sent them a little letter suggesting to them, because it's taken so long on many different topics, that it's appropriate that they should file a claim with the county in order to proceed forward legally should that occur. Hopefully we can resolve some matters. But for your information, I listed a number of different processes, permitting processes they've gone through, and give you an idea of how quickly your department works over here. On December 14th, 2016, the people put in applications to construct 2 pole buildings. They finally got that permit issued to them 621 days later, and then there were some additional holds, and so the time between the application and when they finally let it be a final approval, 1,105 days. Gee whiz, that's quick. Okay, so let's go to another application they put in. April 13th of 2017 for a 3-bay garage that was built without a permit some 20 plus years ago. Well, they were told they needed to put this permit application in, and after they put it in, they've basically been told, we're not giving it to you, and that's been 1,034 days. They still haven't received their permit in their hand after they were directed to do so. On September 11th, 2011, they wanted to replace an existing manufactured home. The permit was issued on 6/22 of 18, so that only took 284 days to issue a permit to replace an existing mobile home. I mean, I think this should be a big concern to you, how long these processes are taking. November 13, 2017, they wanted to put in a second mobile home, and then, of course, this RUE factor, which seems to come up, you'll get a chance to read this letter, but so far it's been 820 days and no resolve. It seems like as though you can make out a permit request, you don't get it. Another November 2017, they had a little carport that they were told they needed to get a permit for. And then, of course, we need an RUE, another thing of 4,000. Anyway, that took 817 days, still no permit. We're asking you to take some action to help get the people to issue the permits that they tell them to get. Thank you.
Next is Howard Glastetter, followed by Paul Schorb.
My name is Howard Glastetter. I live at 11110, that's 4 ones and a 0, Coleman Road in Nisqually Valley. I'm here to talk about the recent February 7th flood and how Tacoma Power handled it and what could have been done better. I wasn't flooded, but many of my neighbors were. I've, just a side point, I've volunteered for the last 10 years on the 2 latest flood hazard mitigation plans for the county. I've
Could
also...
you make the microphone closer, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Thank you.
I've also been a past volunteer for the Storm and Surface Water Advisory Board. I was on that for 6 years until my time was up and away I went. I've handed out to the commissioners and Mr. Chavez 7 pages of graphics so I can get through this thing quickly. So I'm going to just start, and you can look down if you want. The first one shows the inflow on February 3rd. It shows the actual inflow, and then it shows the predicted inflow. It shows the inflow of around 12,000 cubic feet were predicted to happen in 3.5 days. On that same day, it showed the actual level of the reservoir. The reservoir is full at 1,207 feet above sea level. The actual inflow reached 2 peaks by February 3rd of 1,205 feet. That's 2 feet below the top of the reservoir. And another predicted 1,205 plus feet was coming in 3.5 days. At least that's what the weather people said. Well, on the third point, the third graphic, the prediction is doubled. It's now closer to 28,000 cubic feet coming in 1 day. Then on graphic number 4, it shows the effort to mitigate. The very top graph shows the effort for Tacoma Power to mitigate what was coming. They were able to lower the dam by heavy efforts by 3 feet by sending an outflow of 12,000 cubic feet a second. Okay, well, you have the graphics, and I submitted a letter to FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. They sent it out to Tacoma Power 15 minutes later. That was last night. And this morning, the graphics in the very end, well, look at the 6th graph, which shows they intended to stay at 1,205 feet, less than 2 feet, less, just barely over 1 foot from capacity. Now they're taking it down.
Thank you, Mr. Glastetter, for supplying this to us. I appreciate that. We appreciate
Sorry
that.
I couldn't do it in time, but a lot going on, and Tacoma Power's got a lot of fault.
All right, thank you, sir.
Knows about it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Paul Schorb, followed by Melvin Wheeling.
Good afternoon, I'm Paul Schorb, and I'm with Faith Harvest Helpers out on Case Road. Last time, I was here last Tuesday, I signed up to speak but didn't, thinking that the matter was taken care of on the 3-car garage. It has not been to date. I also heard that the violations, the agreement between the county and Faith Harvest Helpers had not been signed. That's a true statement, because we've cleared all the violations except for the ones that require us to buy new permits that we had previously purchased that you heard John talk about, the timeline. So We were told by the county project manager that we had that those items were on hold until the RUE. They weren't canceled, they were on hold. Therefore, we didn't need to get those permits redone at another cost of about $3,000 to $4,000 to our organization. We continue to work with the county. I want you to know that our goal is to do the right thing for the right reasons.
So is this a pending land permit issue, sir?
Pardon me?
Is this a pending land permit issue?
There is.
Yeah, so this wouldn't be appropriate to address the board because it may come back to the board on appeal, depending on what happens at a later point.
Okay.
That's why I brought it up right up front, so that you don't sway the board one way or another. We want to be completely impartial should it come to us on appeal.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you kindly, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Melvin Wheeling, followed by Merrill Bernstein.
I think they left.
Oh, okay. So Melvin's gone. Merrill Bernstein? There we go. Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Meryl Bernstein, Tenino. I'm very much under the weather, so I can't barely hear. So anyway, I will try my best. So I've attached a few comments that are here. I'm speaking about the Wendler, Paul Wendler's Hillside Farms on 143rd Avenue in Tenino. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Okay, thanks. So I've attached a few comments in opposition to the continued effort on the builder's part to fully establish and operate an event center, specifically a wedding venue. There are many more comments on file listing violations the community has documented over the last few years. We were here, 8 months ago with a newspaper, a whole bunch of neighbors. Many residents have dutifully followed the proper permit protocols, requirements, limitations, and more, only to watch this person skirt the same. Why I'm here today is because the applicant, the builder's RUE, reasonable use exception, was in front of the hearing examiner this morning at 10 a.m., which none of us could make it to. Residents were not able to attend, but a few minutes to sending...
Ma'am, the same thing as before. This is a pending land use issue. This is a pending land use issue, and it's not appropriate for comment before this board.
Well, that already happened this morning.
Yeah, but that decision by the hearing examiner could be appealed.
Sorry, I have a cold.
Yeah, the decision by the hearing examiner could be appealed in front of the commissioners.
Right, so it could still come before us.
Okay, so can I speak to the process versus the issue? So I'm going to try to focus on that.
That's going to be kind of a dodgy thing to kind of work through.
Okay, well, so let me just try to read one little thing, and it's about the process, so you can stop me because I'm a little I'm foggy-brained. So having had someone do a RUE is a backwards process in this case because the more the person invests, the harder it is to deal with the issue as to whether this is incompatible with the AOD. Okay? And this issue has never been addressed, no matter how many times we brought it up.
It's still the same.
Ma'am,
is it still the same?
We're here at the edge.
Can I drop these with you and you can look at them later?
They will not.
Huh?
It would be appropriate, no.
Okay, so at what point can I come back with this issue, which has been raised prior to the hearing examiner, and the county has never addressed it, the staffers, no one has looked at, like, that should have been one of the first issues prior to getting this far.
Okay.
Okay?
So when do you want to
So
speak?
at what point can I?
There we go. At what point would that be?
So if the decision by the hearing examiners is appealed, it will come in front of the board. At that point, you will have the opportunity to express your opinion.
Well, we would have to appeal it.
To the mic, ma'am. To the mic.
We would have to appeal it.
If
it went through,
Or
we would.
anybody can appeal it.
But I mean, we have to pay to, again, about the process. So who can I speak to about that process?
I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you.
Okay, and go through that process. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for bearing with me. And last thing, I want you to see our new buttons, note and North Point.
All right, thank you. That exhausted the number of people that have signed up. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address the board and that has not signed up, that hasn't spoken yet? Anyone? All right, thank you. Now, agenda item number 2, county manager's update.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. You heard from public testimony today related to the Nisqually flooding. Let me just walk you through briefly. You had a more comprehensive report this morning, and I just wanted for the public as to what we have done since last Thursday. Last Thursday, when we started receiving some information, the La Grande Dam, operated by Tacoma Power, increased the release of water to 17,000 cubic feet per second. That triggered for us to activate the Emergency Coordination Center and put us in the position to start coordinating with several offices, as well as the external agencies, including the Thurston County Sheriff's Office, Public Works, Public Health, Community Plan and Economic Development, the Public Information Officers, as well as the Red Cross. Also, at the same time, coordinated with the Sheriff's Office, started going door to door to start announcing evacuations. And we also opened shelters for those individuals who might be displaced by the flooding. We also started implementing road closures and started delivering sandbags to those who requested. We delivered those sandbags on site, including the Nisqually tribe who requested for sandbags. On Friday, February 7th, we continued to monitor the rising of the river, which it crested on that day. And also we continued to perform evacuations. And I started coordinating with the Red Cross for the shelter operations. And we continued to deliver sandbags. Moving on to Saturday, February 8th, the floodwater started receding. And some of the roads started open as the water receded. Also, we started having distributing door-to-door information flyers to those residents affected by the flood. And we started implementing on Sunday, February 9th, boil water notices. And the boil water notices, just to be clear, it was for those individuals who have wells, for those individual citizens who are served by municipal water, in this case the city of Lacey, the advice does not apply. So on Monday, yesterday, we started on some of the recovery efforts. And you heard from the new employee, Sherry Nevin, I believe. We're working with crews from the Washington Conservation Corps, which they're going door to door to help citizens on the dismantling of the damaged structures. Today, we have 3 teams on site, and we continue to have those available, those crews for those citizens who need it. Also, we have been distributing bottled water, and I'd just like to say thank you to Costco and Walmart for donating all the water that has been needed to help the citizens. So today, we have made an assessment, and we have determined that 33 dwellings have major damage. That is when the water has reached above the electrical outlets, which it becomes major damage. Minor damage, we have assessed the 30 properties. A minor damage is considered when the water gets up to the floor level without getting to the electrical level. And affected properties, number 16, and that's when the water gets to the crawl space. So, and that's the assessment that we have so far. Now we start getting into what we call is the help the citizens as to how we're going to be managing that. And related to the citizens affected by the flood, then start taking all the damaged parts of their home, and they start have debris removal. Those debris removal activities, we're working with right now with Public Works and also with the Suppliers Republic in the May as to how we can make that process easy for those individuals affected. We will not be asking the citizens to bring the debris to the Waste and Recovery Center, also known as the landfill. We're going to be coordinating, hopefully by the end of today, to bring some of the containers that will be placed nearby those properties affected. When we have a specific location of those containers, we're going to be going door to door to those property owners affected by the flooding to let them know where they can take that debris that is going to be hopefully close to their dwellings. So more to come on that. And lastly, related to public health, we're still monitoring some of the potential illnesses they could bring as a result of the flood. At this point, nothing has been reported. The boiling water, again, is still as an optional for those residents who use well waters. And that's all I have for you, unless you have any questions.
Any questions, Commissioner, or comments?
When it comes to what Mr. Glasseter talked about notifying Tacoma Power, is that a possibility that we can send the Public Utilities Commission a letter of our concerns about them holding back water for too long of a period of time, thus requiring too much of a release?
You had that conversation this morning on your work session, and you explored the possibilities as to how the board can express their concerns, and perhaps their frustrations related to this flooding incident. On the conversation, you suggested perhaps sending a letter to Tacoma Power, and also during that discussion, you discussed how effective will that be. One of the options that you discussed, that perhaps at least from my point of view, may be more effective, is sending a letter to the Washington Utilities and Transportation Commission. And that is the state agency who governs, in a way, Tacoma Power. So that's something that you instructed the staff to have a conversation. Commissioner Mason would like to have additional information related to the ability the county has in influence in a particular outcome. So I will be working with Kurt Harding, the Director of Emergency Services, on an upcoming briefing. Hopefully we can address some of your concerns. And at that time also we'll be drafting a letter for your consideration.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner?
So this morning we had a more complete rundown of all the efforts made, and I had a chance to say thank you to Director of Public Health, Shelley Slaughter, Director of Emergency Management, Kurt Hardin, and Director of Public Works. But we also have 3 members of our Sheriff's Office here, and I didn't get to say thank you to you guys and the work that your team did. I understand that your folks did to go door to door and notify citizens and help them make the right decisions. So thank you for that. And it was, if anybody's curious about the more detail about what was done, you can tune into our meeting this morning. It was right up front, the very first item, 9 a.m. We had probably a half an hour rundown of all the different efforts done by our county staff. So thanks to everybody. Thank you.
And I will conclude with just echoing all the thanks to TCSO, our Sheriff's Department, Sheriff's Office, for all the door-to-door, your men and women did door-to-door work, patrolling and such out there. To Public Works, delivering 1,900 sandbags, to include a ton of those that went to the tribe, the Squally tribe. To PHSS and all the work that they did with notices and warnings and boiling water notifications, the other work they did with another emergent issue over the weekend, on Friday. To our PIOs for keeping the public informed on our social media websites. And to the Olympia staff, Olympia City staff that showed up at our EOC to assist and lend help as well. And even to Republic, LeMay, Costco, Walmart for debris removal and delivering pallets of water to these folks. That's wonderful. And it's everybody coming together, and I really appreciate that. So thank you all. Thank you all for your concerted effort. Did you have more?
Ditto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to acknowledge, Commissioners, the partnership with United Way. And United Way has been a partner, and the partnership really shows on the time of need. And again, they have a step up. And in fact, right now, they're in the process of opening their facilities to receive cash donations or any type of donations. And as a result, they will be distributing those donations to the citizens affected by the flood.
So I was out at the Friday morning. I went out to the American Red Cross to the shelter site and to offer any need and assistance the county might have for them and to make sure things are being taken care of. And there was more staff at the time Red Cross staff than there were people seeking shelter. But it was nice to be in touch with the Red Cross and provide them all the numbers that they needed. And I stopped by again Saturday morning, visited with the same group of folks, and the numbers had swelled to maybe 6 that were seeking shelter from 2. But at least they were up and ready, and they were there. And I've been in contact with the United Way Director Chris Wells over the weekend several times to make sure that we're functioning with the county along with United Way to get what they needed so they can keep functioning too and support the victims as well. So thank you for mentioning United Way. All right. Anything else, sir, on updates?
No, sir.
Okay. Takes us to agenda item number 3, the consent items A. Well, we scratched one.
I've got a motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
I've got a motion, Mr. Chair, to approve consent items A through C and E and F.
Oh, okay, good.
Second.
If I may, could you revise that motion to include A through F? Although the item D is eliminated from the agenda, we didn't have the chance to renumber, but I think it should be inclusive, A through F.
A through F, but we're skipping D.
Because D has been eliminated, but it still carries the same
The same number,
nomenclature.
same letter. Okay.
That's why I said A through C and E and F,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
keeping to the original lettering of the agenda. I think we're good.
Did you second
We're
it?
good. I seconded.
Okay, so there's been a motion and seconded to approve agenda, consent items rather, A through C and E and F. Any discussion on those?
No, sir.
Nope, okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Thank you. Now we're moving to department items. This is agenda item number 4, the Sheriff's Department, an interlocal agreement regarding mutual aid and or SWAT. And we have Under Sheriff Tim Braniff in our presence.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Here today to respectfully request the sign-in of the interlocal agreement between the cities and the Sheriff's Office for the Thurston County SWAT and the agreement that's here within. A little bit of background. I know there were some questions earlier. Excuse me. This came about just shy of 2 years ago when one of the cities approached us in changing the agreement as well as the makeup of the board and the way it's designed. And through a process, we're keeping and maintaining the current way that the program is developed and the oversight by the Sheriff's Office and supported by the City of Yelm, City of Tumwater, City of Olympia, and City of Lacey to support the SWAT team. During that period of time, we were approached by the Chehalis tribe regarding adding a SWAT member. There was some objection by the cities with regards to liability and risk and insurance. And at this time, we're continuing with the entire process, but with the help of Mr. Thunheim, the county prosecutor, and the attorney from the Chehalis tribe, we're still working through that other process to get an amendment, or hopefully an amenable amendment to adding them to the team. But at this time, it is just with those members of the SWAT team, which makes up about 24 members on the team. That includes a doctor from St. Peter's Hospital as well as a paramedic from Tumwater Fire Department. So what we're asking for is the multi-agency agreement be signed, and that'll complete the signature process from all the cities as signing as well as yourselves.
Questions or comments?
Well, I'd just maybe look to Sheriff Snaza in the back there. Did he get it all right? Do I need any more questions asked? Got it? You got to come up to the mic.
Now
though.
you got to come up.
We got it right at this time. However, as a sheriff's office, it's my job to ensure that we establish relations with all entities within our county, including our tribal neighbors and our city neighbors. And obviously, there's a disagreement over what WCIA covers and what AWC covers. And so that's the process that Undersheriff is talking about in regards to lawyer stuff, in regards to Prosecutor Thunheim working with our tribal partners seeing what we can do to work this out. So,
Great.
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Commissioner?
Yeah, thanks for that update. And my understanding has been all along that you guys were very supportive of trying to bring Chehalis into the fold, and I appreciate that effort, and good luck getting the details worked out.
Yeah, that's a pay grade above me with when we're talking insurance processes, and it's unfortunate because Chehalis Tribe, for example, does have a sheriff's commission, and because they're that good of a law enforcement agency, and how the politics work on that. So we'll work on it.
Thanks.
Good job.
Thank you.
Sheriff and
Thank
Under
you very
Sheriff,
much.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, is there a motion?
Yes, I move to approve and authorize the sheriff to sign the interlocal agreement for law enforcement mutual aid and/or SWAT deployment between Thurston County law enforcement agencies.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to sign the interlocal agreement. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No.
Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The
Thank
motion
you.
carries. Thank you. Agenda item number 5, IT, Information Technology, a purchase agreement for MCT Tablets for the Sheriff's Office. And we have Dennis Osorio, our director here.
Good afternoon, Dennis Osorio, IT Director. I'm here seeking authorization to purchase replacement sheriff deputy mobile computer terminal tablets and vehicle docking stations for the quoted price of $444,896.92. The MCTs, the mobile computer terminal tablets, are mission-critical devices for sheriff deputies to use in their patrol vehicles and substations. These mobile devices allow deputies to access all job-related systems, including computer-aided dispatch and sheriff records management systems. The current MCTs were purchased with a 5-year life cycle and installed in 2015. The new MCTs will be compliant with the Criminal Justice Information Services CJIS requirements, and specifically, they'll be running Windows 10 operating system and have multi-factor authentication. Over the past 6 months, IT has partnered with the Sheriff's Office and has evaluated 3 brands and several models to include system demonstrations, cost proposals, and field testing in the vehicles. The GTAC model was chosen as the best fit for Thurston County Sheriff's Office. IT has collected the reserve funds through internal rates over the past 5 years, and the purchasing source is on a Washington State contract. This project supports County Strategic Initiative 17, making strategic investments in information technology systems and infrastructure. And I'd just like to say thanks to the Sheriff's Office for partnering with us, and our own Lisa Corman for heading up this project and making sure that we're getting the right tool for the job for the Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, Dennis. Anything?
No, I think you've done well. Are you going to call on the captain at some point?
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything?
No.
I have a question, and you didn't know this last week when we discussed this, so maybe Captain Phillips knows. Are these Toughbook? Are they the Toughbook, or is that age is old now, and we don't use Toughbook anymore? No, I'm sorry, you, not me.
Thank you, Commissioners, for letting me speak to you. They are semi-rugged. We're not going with the Toughbook. That looked like it was cost prohibitive for us, so we went to semi-rugged.
Semi-rugged, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was easy. All right, your motion?
Yes, I move to authorize the Information Technology Director to purchase replacement Sheriff Deputy MCT tablets and vehicle docking stations at the quoted price of $444,896.92.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to authorize the purchase of replacement MCT tablets for the Thurston County Sheriff's Office. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Or questions? No. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Item number 6, Emergency Services, executing a contract for FEMA Mitigation Grant Program. We got EMS Director Kurt Harden here.
Good afternoon again, Commissioners. Kurt Harden, Director of Emergency Services. I'm requesting the board authorize the Emergency Services Director, myself, to sign the Hazard Mitigation Grant Contract for the period of November 12th, 2019 through November 11th, 2020 in the amount of $46,075.65, and authorize the Director to sign additional extensions or amendments that do not exceed 10% of the contract amount. The county received a mitigation grant, and the Board of County Commissioners approved a contract with the state for the funds in July 2018 in the amount of $215,609. This contract obligates the unspent funding in the original contract, which was $38,234.65, plus an additional $7,841 in funding for a total of $46,075.65. The cost share on this is 75% federal, 12.5% state share, and then 12.5% is a local share. And the local share is paid through in-kind contributions or the homeowner, but county staff time, permit, and inspection fees are the in-kind donations that offset the homeowner's costs. No county funds other than the in-kind match come from the county. So subject to your questions, we request approval to sign the contract.
Okay. Any questions or
No,
comments?
sir, I don't.
Anything?
Nope.
Nor do I.
We've covered this quite a bit. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I just I represent Thurston County on the Chehalis River Basin Flood Authority, and these home elevation projects are great. We have the luxury in Thurston County of having that, not so many structures, and I'm always happy to see more resources poured toward fixing these problems so that we don't deal with kind of what we've seen in the past. So I would move to approve an extension of the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Contract for the Thurston County Home Elevations Project for the period November 12, 2019 through November 11, 2020, with an additional amount of $46,075.65, and authorize the Director of Emergency Services to sign contract extension and future amendments that do not exceed 10% of the terms of the contract.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to execute contract extension for FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 7, Public Health and Social Services, waiver of competitive solicitation and amendment for the Thurston Chamber Foundation. Here we go. Chris Hawkins, Program Manager.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Chris Hawkins with Public Health and Social Services and our Education and Prevention team. Happy to be here requesting that you approve a waiver of competitive solicitation and amendment number 1 to the contract with the Thurston County Chamber Foundation for our Thurston Thrives backbone support. This continues our community's health improvement initiative as a public-private partnership. And it's coordinated and supported by the Thurston County Chamber Foundation and engages many partners in our community. And you all are very familiar with Thurston Thrives, having participated either on an action team, leading an action team, or participating on the coordinating council. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about Thurston Thrives, but we looked to the Chamber as a key convener to bring together multi-sector partners to help with this effort, to coordinate those efforts, and to facilitate the community's action. They measure, promote, and sustain Thurston Thrives through this contract. It's part of our participation in Thurston Thrives that we offer this contract, and it's a commitment that we've made for several years now. We're trying to impact together the community's health through addressing several factors in the health of the community, and that includes social determinants of health, which you'll remember is in the Thurston County Strategic Plan under Initiative 1, Improve Health Outcomes for All. So it mentions in there specifically Thurston Thrives and its impact on social determinants like educational attainment and economic conditions in our community. That goes alongside working on health behaviors and the supports in our community for people engaging in healthy behavior. And really at the center of that collective impact effort is a backbone support, and that's what we're trying to contract with the Chamber to continue doing. And the instrument for that continued effort with the Chamber is this amendment, the commitment of resources, which are already in the 2020 budget to sustain that partnership. It's $40,000 for this year, added to the 2019 same value, so it's an $80,000 total commitment with $40,000 coming in 2020.
Okay. Anything, sir?
No, sir. Good job, Chris.
Thank you.
Anything of Chris?
Chris, for the public's benefit, could you point out who the other financial partners of Thurston Thrives are?
Yes, in the last several years, those partners have included the United Way of Thurston County. It's included Thurston Regional Planning Council. The Northwest Venture Philanthropy has been a partner in it. Some private sector partners have been Kaiser Permanente's foundation. I believe we also are now getting support with Thurston Thrives acting as the local forum for the Cascade Pacific Action Alliance. So in our county, Thurston Thrives is awarded some funds from the Cascade Pacific Action Alliance to be the sort of convener around local health issues, community health here in Thurston County that can then be fed to the regional process of Cascade Pacific Action Alliance. So those are just a few examples of other supporters who've been supporting with cash and other resources for Thurston Thrives.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion?
Yes. I move to approve waiver of competitive solicitation under Section A9 of Policy 0201 and Amendment Number 1 to the Thurston County Chamber Foundation contract for Thurston Thrives coordination to extend the contract duration through December 31st, 2020 and add $40,000 of funding for this additional year of services for a revised total maximum contract amount of $80,000 and authorize the Public Health and Social Services Department Director to sign the amendment.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded for waiver of competitive solicitation and amendment to extend the Thurston County Chamber Foundation Thurston Thrives contract for 1 year 2020. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Nope. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
Thank you very much,
7B, thank you, Chris. 7B, approval of an ILA for the TMBHA.
Good afternoon, Carrie Hennon, Public Health and Social Services, Treatment Sales Tax. I'm here to ask your approval of an interlocal agreement with the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization. So as you know, the treatment sales tax is local funding that supports mental health and substance use programs and services. It also funds our therapeutic courts. So as a county, we work with many partners, including the TMBHASO, on investing these funds strategically to build the strongest possible behavioral health system we can. This interlocal agreement represents funding that you set aside in the biennial budget process, so this money has already been accounted for. This is the interlocal agreement that provides the mechanism to get that money to the BHASO, and this agreement includes a range of programs that serve youth and adults in schools, in the community, in our juvenile detention facility, and in the county jail. So I'm asking for your approval of this agreement.
Any questions?
Just for the public understanding, that tax is collected here locally and is going to be spent here locally?
Correct, yes. This is Thurston County funding. It's a 0.1% sales tax. And so we partner with the Thurston Mason BHASO, but we stipulate that it can only be spent on Thurston County programming.
Thank you.
Questions or comments?
Nope.
You do a great job with the TSD. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, I move to approve the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization interlocal agreement for a total of $2,500,033 in treatment sales tax funds for the period of January 1, 2020 to December 31st, 2020, and authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the agreement and any amendments that do not change the approved dollar amount or duration by more than 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the ILA with the TMBHASO for treatment sales tax funds. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you,
Thank you.
Carrie. 7C, Housing and Homeless Prevention, request for proposals. And not Tom Webster, but we have Shelley Slaughter, our director here.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Shelley Slaughter, Director of Thurston County Public Health and Social Services, and I am here to request your approval of the 2020 request for proposals for funding from the Federal Home Investment Partnerships Act, the Federal Community Development Block Grant, our local affordable housing fund, our local homeless housing fund, and the Health and Human Services Council, and the Veterans Assistance Fund. So this is a consolidated grant that we put out annually with your permission, and I'm going to share a little bit more information about what each of those funding sources does on behalf of the Health and Human Services Councils, who has asked us to request this from you. So we propose to solicit project proposals from these funding sources. These applications that we receive will be reviewed by the Health and Human Services Council, which is made up of a representative from Thurston County, as well as City of Lacey, City of Tumwater, City of Olympia, and other partners that participate on that council. The RFP will also solicit applications for the Veterans Assistance Fund, and those applications will be reviewed by the Veterans Advisory Board prior to presentation to the Board of County Commissioners. Federal funding for the home program totals approximately $700,000. This number is not finalized yet because we don't have final federal budget approval, but that's what we expect it to be. Local funding is from SHB 2060, and that is for affordable housing, and that totals approximately $320,000. And then SHB 2163, which are document recording fees, that total is approximately $360,000. Veterans Assistance Funds totals approximately $75,000, and the Health and Human Services Council, which funds basic needs and includes contributions from our city partners, totals approximately $249,000 for this year. The Community Development Block Grant that Thurston County receives changes annually. It rotates annually to our other jurisdictional partners, and this year the $1 million in available community development block grant funds is designated for projects within the City of Lacey, and it will be their purview to select those projects. So the total available funding that we are soliciting proposals for with your approval is $2,704,000, and the projects must be eligible activities as outlined in the application packet. If you approve this today, the packet would be available beginning on February 21st and due back to the county by 12 p.m. on Friday, April 3rd. We will also hold a bidders conference on February 26th from 2 to 4 p.m. from interested applicants to answer questions about the materials. And this funding supports the County Strategic Plan Initiative 3, which is collaboration with community partners to reduce homelessness and implement Thurston Thrive's housing strategies. Any questions?
Any questions?
No, very good presentation.
Any questions or comments?
No, we asked questions this morning, and my questions were answered.
Yeah, it was comprehensive this morning and now. Thank you, Shelley. Sure, I'm ready.
Okay, great. I am prepared to move. I move to approve the 2020 request for proposals for funding from the Federal Home Investment Partnerships Act, Federal Community Development Block Grant, Local Affordable Housing Fund, Local Homeless Housing Fund, and the Health and Human Services Council, and for the Veterans Assistance Fund.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Housing and Homeless Prevention 2020 request for proposals. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Agenda item number 8, juvenile court probation. Approval of the contract with CYS for juvenile diversion services. And we have Mike Fenton, our juvenile court administrator here. Hello, Mike.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm before you today asking that you waive the requirements of the county procurement policy in order for us to contract with Community Youth Services to provide the juvenile offender diversion services. Community Youth Services, as a partner with us, has been providing the diversion program for over 40 years and is the only agency in Thurston County equipped to do so. So we are requesting the continuation of that relationship.
Okay. Questions or comments regarding that?
Ongoing and legal from prior briefings.
Anything, Commissioner?
Do you happen to know off the top of your head how many juveniles are served in a year? through this contract?
The last couple of years, it's hovered right around 400, which has been a drop in compared to 10, 15 years ago. But overall, the offender numbers throughout Thurston County have dropped proportionately to those numbers. So it's roughly about 50% of all offender referrals that go through the prosecutor's office on an annual basis.
Okay, ready when you are, sir.
I move to waive requirements of the Thurston County procurement policy under item A9 and move to approve the contract with Community Youth Services in the amount of $311,681 for the period January 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2022 to provide juvenile diversion services in accordance with RCW 13.40.080 and authorize the juvenile court administrator to sign the contract.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve the contract with CYS for juvenile detention services. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Nope. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Mike, very much.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 5, county manager request for setting public hearing.
I will ask Michelle Underwood to come, and she will give you a report on this request.
Is that her last one?
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
For the record, I'm Michelle Underwood, Budget Support to the Board. Before you is an application from Zayo Corporation. Zayo Group LLC bought out a bunch of telecommunication franchises, and they thought they had a franchise agreement to operate in the county right away, and they don't. So we are working through a process for the last year or so to get them a franchise agreement. So as part of the process, we need a public hearing. This is not cable, this is telecommunications, and it's countywide. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I have a ton of questions.
Oh, bless you.
You have anything, Commissioner?
I guess maybe I would just like for a point of clarification, if we didn't do this, there would be a lot of citizens out there that would be missing out on services, is that right?
Yes, they have been in the right-of-way because they
Right.
bought companies. And they are licensed through Washington Transportation, but they need an agreement with the county to be legal in the right-of-way
There you
and
go.
to protect our assets in the right-of-way.
Thank you.
Wow.
Again, we've had a few discussions about this, so.
Commissioner?
I'm good.
I don't have any questions other than we'll miss you. Will you miss us?
Yes,
Okay. Thank you, Michelle.
I'll catch it on YouTube.
I bet you will. Thank you. Is there a motion?
I move to set a public hearing for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2020 at 3:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard at the Thurston County Courthouse, Building 1, Room 280, to receive public comments on the proposed telecommunications franchise application with Zayo Group LLC.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to request a public hearing, set a public hearing on telecommunications franchise agreement for May 3rd, 2020 at 3 p.m. or soon thereafter. Any further discussion on that issue?
No, sir.
Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
And for all your years of dedication. Takes us to 9B, Commissioners reporting out on work sessions, assignments and such. Commissioner?
Well, I guess what kept me busy in the past week was several homeless meetings, several trips down to the valley to see how things were going on the flooding situation. And we've been working for quite some time, and now the Nisqually River Council is trying to address the solid waste issue with the Washington State Department of Ecology. And if anybody wants to know a little more about it, in this last week's Yelm Nisqually Valley paper, it's above the fold here, with the Nisqually River Council taking the lead on trying to address some of the issues that I believe the citizens would be very distraught about if they knew how Ecology was addressing this issue. So without delaying today's meeting, we have to get on with other things. I would just encourage those that are concerned about this issue, take a look at that article in the newspaper. It'll explain it all, and I won't have to do it. Thank you.
Commissioner?
I attended the Rochester Chamber last week, attended a community meeting about a public power initiative that I was curious about. Attended the Innovative Justice Group meeting this morning, and we had a really good work session trying to identify gaps in the intersection between mental health, the mental health system and the criminal justice system, and I think it was a really productive meeting. Attended the most important community event of the year in my family, which is on Saturday, the City of Lacey's Daddy-Daughter Dance. So that was a lot of fun. And I also wanted to report that Intercity Transit has preliminary numbers on its ridership for January compared to January of 2019, given that we've gone zero fare, and the statistics showed a 20% ridership uptick, which is very consistent with my anecdotal evidence riding the bus. I ride a few times a week, and it's definitely been more people on the bus. So far, so good.
Did you step on your daughter's toes?
Not this year.
Good. Just a couple of the things that I did. I attended the Recovery Advocacy Day, held by or at the Temple Beth Hatfield in downtown Olympia. It is to celebrate those with substance use disorder and celebrating their recovery and treatment. And then there's a walk to the legislature where they shared their personal stories with legislators, giving them a message of hope and to support legislation for treatment and prevention. I attended the WASAC, that's the Washington State Association of Counties, their Board of Directors meeting and Legislative Steering Committee, and a Mayor's Forum. We had a luncheon with all the mayors of the county last Friday, and attended a homeless presentation at Jefferson Middle School last Friday night, and then I stopped by again Friday and Saturday at the Grinwood Christian Conference and Retreat Center in Lacey, where the American Red Cross had set up a shelter. And that was the extent of my week. And so with that, turn to the county manager.
Thank you, Commissioners. Just for the public notice, the Board of County Commissioners meeting for next Tuesday, February 18, 2020 has been canceled. So I will walk you through your combined schedule for the next 2 weeks, is where at least 2 commissioners will be present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. Here in a few minutes at 3:30, you have your regular Board of Health meeting. Following to that, at 5 in the afternoon, from 5 to 6:30, you have been invited to meet and greet the finalist for the Executive Director of the Senior Services. And that will be located on the Olympia Senior Center, located at 222 Columbia Street Northwest in Olympia. Tomorrow, Wednesday, February the 12th, you have your lunch with your appointed directors. We'll have an open forum to connect on the latest activities the different departments are conducting. 2 in the afternoon, tomorrow, February the 12th, you have a briefing related to the Mazama Pocket Gopher, an update on that. Follow at 3 o'clock by the Rochester Suveria Plan, an update. And at 4 o'clock tomorrow, February the 12th, you have a briefing related to the complete streets ordinance, and that is related on the Rochester area, I believe. Thursday, February 13th, you have your commissioners check-in, and an agenda will be posted 24 hours in advance. Friday, February 14th, you have been invited to the CYS, have a Heart for Kids breakfast that will be located at Hotel RL at 2300 Evergreen Park Drive Southwest, and that will be from 6:30 to 8:30 in the morning. Saturday, February 15th, you have been invited to participate at 1 in the afternoon to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the League of Women's Voters, and that will be located in the Bigelow House Museum at 918 Glass Avenue Northeast in Olympia. Monday, February 15th, county offices will be closed in observance of the President's Day holiday. Tuesday, February 18th, you will be having your agenda setting where you will be reviewing the agenda for the following week, Tuesday, February 25th.
Is that at
And
9:30?
That meeting, I'm sorry.
Is that at 9:30?
That will be at 9:30 in the morning, yes.
Okay.
And they need to adjust the timing because you will be meeting at room 152. And the reason, downstairs, and the reason is room 180 will be under technical remodel, and we need to have that available for that work. And the reason that you will be starting at 9:30 because room 152 also is used by jurors. And they need to be out hopefully by 9:30. So it's going to be some of that coordination. And nothing else since the Board of County Commissioners meeting was canceled for that day as well as the Transportation Benefit District meeting. On Wednesday, February 19th, you have a hold for work sessions at 9 a.m. If we don't have anything specific, we'll cancel that. And at noon, you have your monthly luncheon with your elected officials. Thursday, February 20th, Commissioner Menser, Commissioner Hutchins will be attending the Thurston Mesa Behavioral Health Organization, and the other two words that I don't remember in the acronym. February 21st, at 8 a.m., you will be invited to attend the study that will be located at Mr. McDoug's restaurant at 210 Northeast 103rd Avenue in Yelm. And at noon, Friday, February 21st, you have a government-to-government meeting with the Squaxin Island Tribal Council lunch meeting that will be located at the Little Creek Casino Resort on the Highway 91 in Shelton, Washington. Nothing for February 22nd, nothing for February 23rd, nothing for Monday, February 24th, and Tuesday, February 25th, you will come back here in room 280 to review the agenda for the afternoon's Board of County Commissioners meeting.
Wow, okay. Questions or comments?
No, sir.
Anything, Commissioner?
No, thank you.
All right, well, then we're going to be in recess until the Board of Health meeting. We'll set up for that. Thank you.